Hi everyone, my name is Aliza Hadzovic. I am a junior at Rutgers University, and for my DCIM Capstone project, I will be talking about navigating digital societies and understanding social media's influence on modern life. The topics that we will be covering is social media's history slash what is social media and social media's effect on education, business, politics, and relationships. Now, what is social media? Social media is understood as the different forms of online communication used by people to create networks, communities, and collectives to share information, ideas, messages, and other content such as videos. Some prominent social media platforms entail Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, X, more formerly known as Twitter, and LinkedIn. In 1997, Andrew Weinrich, or more formally known as the father of social media, released a social media website called Six Degrees that jump-started the idea of social media. And he had a vision of utilizing Six Degrees to connect with other people that have the same interests as you, sort of a professional career networking similar to LinkedIn. And but because it was the 1900s during that time, there wasn't enough research resources to fulfill um, Weinrich's vision. So he ended up selling Six Degrees for $125 million in 1999. Now, for the role of social media in education, I have some pros and I have some cons here. Some of the pros is that social media slash more so the internet is easily accessible. It helps sources be easily accessible while studying. I know that through my time at Rutgers, the Rutgers database libraries and digital libraries has helped me a lot find sources that will cater to what I need to research and help me find academic sources that are reliable rather than using random websites. And these next two go hand in hand, building professional branding and professional networking and stemming creativity. I've linked two apps that have helped me a lot during my time in college, LinkedIn and Handshake. LinkedIn, you can connect with other people that want to do the same thing as you career-wise, and it can help you create things that you did. It helps you understand the idea that there are other things that you might want to do, and it allows you to sort of think outside the box, which is extremely helpful. I know that while looking at everyone else's ideas on LinkedIn and seeing what they were doing for their capstone project, it made me excited to see how it would turn out. And Handshake, well, both LinkedIn and Handshake, you're allowed to post your skills on there, past and present projects that you're working on, and put yourself out there for future or potential employers to see after you graduate college. And some cons is that 83% of instructors found that it was distracting in classrooms. I can attest to this because I've noticed many times in lectures that a lot of students don't normally pay attention to the lecturer or the professor. They're normally busy on their phone, watching something on their laptop, or playing games on their laptop. So it's something that I have noticed, and I think that the internet has sort of, in a way, fried our attention span because students might think, why should I pay attention to the professor when I can do this instead? And another thing is the cyberbullying that happens outside of school. When kids are cyberbullied by people that they go to school with, it makes them not want to face those problems head on, and they would rather just stay at home because they're too upset to go to school as it destroys their mental health. And because these students do not want to go to school, it can also result in their grades plummeting because they aren't receiving the homework help that they need or getting the learning that they need for their class to complete certain homeworks. And the 2011 film, Cyberbully, exemplifies this perfectly. It's based on a true story. And you can see here in this little clip that the main character, Taylor, does not want to go to school because she's been getting cyberbullied online by people that that she goes to school with and does not want to face them in person.
Did you change your mind about going to school? You said I could have one day to stay home. I just don't want you to get into the habit of avoiding your problems. Sometimes the best thing is to face things head on, don't you think? Maybe you should just walk into your school with your head high and tell those kids they shouldn't believe everything they see on the internet. Yeah, that's gonna be a big help. I'm gonna stop by your school and talk to your principal. Great.
As you can see in that clip, Taylor is getting cyberbullied, and you can see that she has tears in her eyes. She's scared to go to school. She doesn't know what will happen if she sees these people, because if they can say all these things online, what can they do in person? She's worried if they might physically hurt her, and she's essentially facing these demons, and she does not want to go to school. Next is the business aspect. So, social media can help improve sales when companies build a strong social media presence and they post videos catering to their target audiences and building trust within them. And there's an increasing significance of digital marketing now more than ever because as a lot of people are switching from going shopping in person, they're switching to going online because it's a lot more easier. So it's really important that businesses build that strong social media presence, build that credibility with their clients slash customers. It's really important that they build that connection and establish that trust because they want they're the money. Essentially, your customers are the money, which is why it's so important to build that trust. It also increases the number of jobs. And what I mean by this is when companies hire, whether it's a PR, PR person, or more specifically, I'm mainly talking about a social media manager here, it is, it brings in more jobs for them. And for a social media manager, it's important to have one that can identify the platforms that you want to use to bring traction to your brand and bring traffic to your social media accounts. And it's also important to find someone that can identify the different audiences that you may have. For example, if you want to have a TikTok account, a Facebook account, as well as a Instagram account. Those three social media platforms have very different audiences. TikTok, you want to be more on the playful side to cater to Gen Z audiences, whereas Facebook, you might want to cater to, you are going to have to cater to older audiences because older audiences tend to use Facebook more than those who are in Gen Z. So it's really important to establish audiences for different social media platforms and have someone that has the ability to think of different content to post and think of different ideas to help bring traction to your social media accounts. And another thing is it improves customer service when you have someone that works for you, that is customer service and handles all of those issues. They want to ensure that your customers are getting the best service possible and service that makes them want to come back and service that makes a customer say to other people, "Hey, I didn't really like this product, but their customer service was really nice." Like they have they've built their brand and their public image on a good foundation. So one example that I've mentioned is TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop was released in 2023. It's helped millions of small businesses through data-driven marketing. And what I mean by this is TikTok, TikTok's algorithms shows you videos, shows you advertisings that believe can fit into your certain niche. For example, I go to the gym, so sometimes through TikTok Shop advertisements, I get a lot of gym gym clothes, gym attire. And another thing, including the small businesses, I use a certain type of hairbrush from a small certain business. And when I began using it, the business was very small. Now it's a huge company now. They have all of these different products besides the singular brush that they were selling. And they have different things such as hair bonnets, curl creams, curl mousse, curl gel. It's very interesting to see how just TikTok and people spreading excuse me, this product around has helped their company. So one other example that I want to look at that I am looking at is Dr. Miami. Dr. Miami is a famous plastic surgeon who began documenting live updates of surgeries such as before, during videos, and after on Snapchat in 2015. And as Snapchat became less popular and a lot less people started to watch stories, he had to hire a social media manager. I'm sure he had one before, but a different kind of social media manager and shifted his target audience to TikTok in order to gain more traction to his accounts and bring a sense of his personality to social media instead of us seeing him cut people open. And as you can see, this is one TikTok example right here.
Just to keep that rowdy, that rowdy.
Okay, yeah. So as you can see, he was doing a popular TikTok trend, which promotes himself because he's stating in the video, "Oh, I'm telling my patients not to vape before surgery." So he's promoting what he does, but he's also doing it in a way that will bring traffic to his social media accounts by catering to the Gen Z audiences from doing that famous Maui Wowie trend. And a lot of people like the fact that he's relatable. He's gotten a lot more clients just based off of his TikTok, which is very interesting. As you can see, he has 3.4 million followers and 325 million likes, which is really interesting because he's bringing in more business just from making TikTok videos. Next, I will be talking about politics with social media. So, first, social media causes a divide between both political parties. I mentioned in my evidence-based predictions that I believe it will cause an even deeper divide, but right now the divide is pretty deep as we see more content and more things. I remember even in the 2020 election, things were hectic, but now the two different sides, the two major political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, are even more at a divide because the opposite sides bash one another based off of the information that they believe is right. One side thinks they're more superior than the other. And it sort of turns into an us versus them debate where people aren't respecting each other's opinions and they always feel the need to go head in head with one another when they find out someone does not share the same political views as them, which causes a lot of tension within America and divides us even more as a country. And each side also sees the content that they prefer. So they're seeing content that is more favorable to the party that they agree with. So evidently, they're going to think that way and think that way is right. But then again, do we really know which side is right? Do we really know what's true and what's not between politics? Leading to my next point, the spread of propaganda. Bots have used the internet or social media to spread propaganda between multiple social media sites, whether they're bots from a different country or bots from America, they have put out anonymous information and can be used and is its intent is to manipulate citizens into thinking one way is better than the other or one way of thinking is more superior than the other and sort of going back to causing the divide in political parties, they're thinking the bots want to manipulate people into thinking this side is the enemy, this side is evil, this side is incorrect. And 64% of Americans believe social media has had a bad effect on politics, which I agree with. I am honestly part of that 64% because it is so easy to manipulate the media nowadays with different forms of propaganda, black, white, gray, something that I've learned about in different classes, different forms of propaganda. But especially with the rise of artificial intelligence, it's hard to differentiate between what is real and what is false between social media in concerning politics. So with that being said, it's very important to indulge and pay attention to websites that are unbiased and don't cater, don't are less aren't favorable to any political party at all. My second, I mean, my first example, no, my third point would be politician advertisement. And this is one of the things that I believe it social media has helped politician advertisement because it allows them to gain trust easier because they explicitly state their agenda on the internet and they list all the promises they're going to make, what they're going to do if they win. And it also allows them to have a community outreach. They can respond to tweets. They can respond to TikTok comments. They can respond to a lot of things, and which builds a relationship and still trust between someone who's thinking of voting for a politician and the politician. And it's also extremely cost efficient because it's a lot cheaper to make a TikTok video advertising yourself than it is to have a TV advertisement and spend a lot of money. Yeah. Spend a lot of money on a television advertisement. Posting TikToks are free. And also, when you post TikToks, it has the ability to reach a lot more people than it would to reach a certain amount, like a certain group. Then again, leading to the community outreach perspective that I mentioned prior. So, my first example of this is Zohran Mamdani, the mayor-elect of New York City, who's had a monumental campaign run. It's something that I feel I've never seen before because Zohran Mamdani, he beat candidates with experience. He beat Andrew Cuomo, who's been around for so long. He was the first Muslim mayor mayor-elect in New York City, and he engaged with a lot of young or first-time voters, and he built that trust to encourage those to go vote for him, which was really cool. He also, I didn't mention this, but he also used different languages to interact with his audiences. And here is a TikTok of him interacting with young or first-time voters. So in that video, you can see that Mamdani is in a New York club. You can see that Mamdani's in a club. He's building these connections. He's establishing trust. He is doing the community outreach and showing a different side of him, a personality side that a lot of people crave nowadays in politics. So it's refreshing, and that's also what has made his campaign so successful. And here is Mamdani's campaign video.
Adams have been indicted. Every politician says New York is the greatest city on the globe. Good is that if no one can afford to live here? Well,
I have to cut that a little bit short, but you can see that in the beginning intro, he goes into one of the New York staples, a bodega, and he starts off by saying everyone wants to be in New York City, but no one can afford to live here. So then he follows up by stating what he wants to do to help make New York City more affordable and more enjoyable to live there, including free buses, free transportation, and just and his exact plan for making New York City what everyone knows is New York City, happy again. And my second example that I wanted to use for this was the spread of propaganda. And I wanted to talk about Donald Trump spreading propaganda that there is a direct correlation between pregnant women using Tylenol and their children with having autism after they're born. And Trump used no scientific evidence to back this up, but all of his supporters and those easily fooled might have believed he must be right. And it's ironic because Tylenol is the only Tylenol is the only over-the-counter prescription drug that is safe for pregnant women to use. So Trump was instilling this fear between pregnant women. It was offensive to people on the autism spectrum because he was portraying autism as if it were a bad thing. And he's heard so many people just from this claim that it just it, it makes it unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And here is CNN's new story of Trump's claim.
President Donald Trump at his autism press conference on Monday was clear about his thoughts on using Tylenol during pregnancy.
Don't take it. Don't take it. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
But his warnings were at odds with the official communications of his own FDA, which said in a press release that same day, quote, "It remains reasonable for pregnant women to use acetaminophen in certain scenarios." Trump also said this.
There's no downside in not taking it.
But there, his FDA contradicts.
As you can see, there was no scientific evidence to back up Trump's claim stating that pregnant women should not be using Tylenol. It was just, it can give you autism, point blank, period. That's that. Which is essentially a form of propaganda because it brings down Tylenol sales and it makes pregnant women scared. Next, my last and final topic is relationships, how social media has affected relationships. I personally believe that social media has affected relationships terribly. I think that fostering connections one-on-one is now permanently altered because of social media. And one of the a few of the things that I want to touch base on is that it causes trust issues slash feelings of uncertainty. A lot of partners, a lot of people in relationships are now worried that their partner is cheating, and 1 in 3 Americans in a relationship have admitted to looking through their partner's phones, which this was caused, this is a result of different explore feeds and research feeds on social media, and a lot of essentially social media is taken over by lust, causing trust issues between relationships. And it is so easy to hide things nowadays while in relationships that it makes it hard to be able to trust. It makes it hard to be able to trust someone that you're in a relationship with because you don't know what they're doing on their phone after. And then second off is it provides unrealistic standards, and a lot of people in relationships compare to others that they see online. For example, if someone sees a relationship online that is showered with gifts, showered with flowers, nice dinners, all this, spending all their time together, being super lovey-dovey, they might feel insecure about their own relationship because they must think, oh, this couple online never fights. This couple must really love each other. My boyfriend and I fight. My girlfriend and I fight sometimes. I maybe my significant other and I don't have a healthy relationship. Maybe this is what it's supposed to be. But I feel as if we as a society need to understand that a lot of relationships online are only going to be posting the good parts, the good things that they go through in a relationship. Every relationship has their downsides. Not every relationship is perfect. Their everyone goes through their phases, which is why it is so important to communicate with one another. And another thing is that social media brings a lot of distractions within a partner. You can be talking to your significant other and they're not even listening to you. They are not listening to what you have to say because they're on their phone doing whatever, they might be scrolling on Instagram and then they look up and they're like, wait, what did you say? Which also circles back to trust issues because what is it on your phone that is so important? And 40% of adults in relationships feel bothered when their partner is constantly on their phone, which is understandable because it makes the person feel as if their significant other has no interest in them and has no interest in what they have to say and just wants them to be quiet and they don't want to be bothered. Another thing is miscommunication. Miscommunication result is a result of because messages can tend to be misconstrued due to lack of nonverbal cues. We might we might see a text message that we get from our significant other, and we might think that they're mad at us or feeling upset. And it's the complete opposite because we, due to the lack of nonverbal cues, because we can't see their body language, we can't see their facial expressions, and we can't hear the tone in their voice while they are speaking. So it can messages tend to be misconstrued, starting arguments, unnecessary arguments. And a way to prevent all of these issues is to communicate boundaries with one another, stating explicitly, hey, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. I really prefer if you don't go on your phone as much while I'm speaking to you. I would that was just one example. And unfortunately for relationships, I don't really have an example because I feel as if this is something that we see more in our everyday life. And there's not a lot of examples plastered online about people and their relationship issues. But I believe that is one of the things social media has completely ruined relationships and our outlook on what is a healthy relationship and what is a toxic relationship. That concludes everything, all of the ways that social media has influenced our society. And I just want to say thank you.